The sun blazed over the suburban city of Brookhaven, casting shimmering reflections off the neighborhood pool. Children's laughter echoed, and the scent of chlorine hung in the air. Amidst this idyllic setting, Chief of Police Lila Monroe found a rare moment of respite, lounging by the poolside. Her peace was interrupted by a shadow looming over her. A man, unfamiliar and stern-faced, stood with arms crossed. "Excuse me," he began, his tone laced with condescension. "Are you a resident here?" Lila looked up, her expression calm. "Yes, I am." He frowned. "I don't recall seeing you around. This pool is for residents only." She sat up, maintaining her composure. "I've lived here for years." The man, undeterred, gestured towards the lifeguard. "Can you verify her residency?" The lifeguard hesitated, clearly uncomfortable. Lila reached into her bag and produced her ID, revealing her position as the chief of police. The man's face paled. I didn't realize." She stood, her voice steady. "Perhaps next time, approach with less suspicion." Around them, the pool had fallen silent. Neighbors watched, some with embarrassment, others with newfound respect. That evening, whispers of the incident spread through Brookhaven. Text messages buzzed, and front porch conversations buzzed with the news. By morning, Lila's mailbox was filled with notes of apology and appreciation. Yet, as she sipped her coffee, a message on her phone caught her attention. "We need to talk. Urgent." The sender, an anonymous number. "If you're enjoying this so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps us grow and lets us keep bringing you more content like this. Plus, you won't want to miss what we have coming next. Trust me, it's going to be good." The door hadn't even closed behind her when Lila heard it. A voice. Low. Gruff. Just outside the front gate. Thought she was supposed to be retired. The words froze her in place. Her keys were still in hand. The screen door creaked softly in the wind behind her. She hadn't seen anyone on the street. Lila stepped back out, slow, silent. Empty sidewalk. Quiet block. Nothing but lawn chairs and wind chimes. But she knew what she heard. She scanned the street. Nothing. No movement. No car idling. Still. Someone had been out there. Someone who thought she was done. She wasn't. Not even close. By mid-morning, the story from the pool had spread further than she expected. Not just whispered. Posted. Circulated. Screen captured. Someone had shared the moment on a community forum. Not the confrontation. The aftermath. A still image. Lila seated in her chair, sunglasses on, badge in her lap. Calm. Unbothered. The caption read, "Know who you're speaking to." Beneath it, hundreds of likes. Dozens of comments. Most supportive. But one stood out. A username she didn't recognize, Redstone7. Not everything is what it looks like. Some people wear a badge to hide the real story. That one chilled her. Because it didn't sound like critique. It sounded like a warning. By noon, the knock came. Not on her front door. At the station. Detective Rami Calderon. He looked grim. Held a folder tight under his arm. "We've got a problem." Lila waved him into her office. He placed the file on her desk. Didn't sit. Security footage. Pool perimeter cams. "We pulled it after the post went up." She opened the file. Still shots. Timelined. She flipped through quickly. Neighbors. Kids. Nothing unusual. Until she stopped. Frame 14 hours, 7 minutes, and 33 seconds. A figure in the background. Half obscured by a hedge. Hood up. Not pool attire. Not familiar. She leaned in. "Zoomed enhancement?" she asked. He handed her a separate printout. Same moment. Clearer. Still no face. But the posture was wrong. They weren't watching the pool. They were watching her. The figure appeared in 5 frames. Never moved. Never looked away. In one, their hand was raised. Not waving. Holding something. A phone? No. The shape was too flat. No case. No color. A recorder. Audio. Did anyone notice them at the time? No, Rami said. But someone wanted us to. They deleted 2 clips. Sloppily. We recovered partials. He opened his phone. Played an audio file. Lila listened. It was the sound of her voice. Not at the pool. At a press conference. A year ago. Clipped. Edited. Doesn't matter who they are. If they resist, we will respond with force. Her eyes narrowed. That was never said like that. I know. Someone's stitching it together. For what? Rami didn't blink. To smear you. Or frame you. Or both. That evening, she walked the perimeter of her backyard. flashlight in hand. The gate creaked behind her. No sign of a break-in. But something was off. She spotted it near the fence. A crushed cigarette. Fresh. She didn't smoke. Neither did her neighbors. Lila bagged it in a small evidence sleeve. Then saw the second thing. Wedged in the dirt. Deep. Metallic glint. She knelt. A USB drive. Unmarked. Cold in her palm. She didn't plug it in at home. She waited until she was at the station. Air-gapped terminal. Secure. The folder auto-opened. One file. Monroe_voice_log1.wave. She hit play. And froze. It wasn't her. But it was her voice. Artificially replicated. Saying things she never said. Orders. Confessions. Corrupt instructions. All lies. All sounding like truth. The next morning the mayor called. Her voice was clipped. Measured. Chief Monroe. There's been a complaint. About what? You. Pause. Someone submitted a file. A voice memo. You allegedly issued an illegal order during a prior protest detail. That's false. I want to believe you. Lila clenched her jaw. Then do. The line went quiet. You need to get ahead of this. Before it spreads further. Then the line went dead. Lila stood in front of her station mirror, staring hard at her own reflection. This wasn't about the pool. That had just been the spark. This was older. Deeper. Deliberate. And whoever was pulling the strings had access. To her voice. To city systems. And maybe, to people she trusted. 2 nights later, she returned to the scene. The pool. Closed now. Gates locked. But she had keys. She walked the perimeter. Stopped at the far end. Near the hedge. Where the figure had stood. She studied the fence. Found what she was looking for. Scuff marks. Fresh. Not shoes. Boots. Tactical. Not neighborhood casual. She was being watched. Profiled. Framed. And if they could fake her voice, they could do worse. Back at home, a package was waiting. No postage. No return. Inside, a small black envelope. And a printed screenshot. It was a surveillance photo. Of her. Taken from across the street. Zoomed. Dated. 2 days ago. Caption written in red ink. Every leader makes mistakes. Yours are coming. No signature. No fingerprints. Just threat. And certainty. Lila took the photo straight to the forensics lab. The paper? Commercial grade. Bought in bulk. Anonymous. The ink? Untraceable. The image? From a camera with a high-end lens. Military adjacent. Someone with resources. And motive. But what motive? She hadn't made enemies. Not like this. Unless. Her hand paused over a folder buried in her desk. Old case files. One in particular. From 6 years ago. Operation Fallside. A sting that went bad. A cover-up exposed. 2 officers forced to resign. One disappeared. Jonas Creel. She hadn't heard his name in years. But this? It felt like him. Like his style. And he'd said something back then. To her face. You ruined my future. I'll ruin your name. That night, her phone buzzed again. Text. Unknown number. Still think the badge protects you? She didn't reply. But she didn't sleep either. The next day, the mayor issued a quiet order. An inquiry. Internal. About Lila's conduct. It wasn't disciplinary yet. But it was official. And public. And the media picked it up fast. Brookhaven's top cop under scrutiny after viral incident. Lila scanned the article. The facts were wrong. The tone was worse. They didn't even mention Russell Denton's part. Just her badge. Just her silence. Just what they thought was worth framing. That evening, she got another message. Handwritten. Slid under her office door. A single line. You should never have exposed us. Attached was a small Polaroid. Russell Denton. But not at the pool. In a garage. Talking to a man she didn't recognize. Or did she? She squinted. Looked closer. Same build. Same eyes. Older. Rougher. Jonas Creel. Alive. And in Brookhaven. The storm was coming. And Lila was the target. This wasn't just about power. It was about erasure. Take her voice. Twist her past. And replace her presence with doubt. But she wouldn't go quietly. She never had. Not then. Not now. She pulled up an old contact on her phone. Maya Voss. A digital forensics analyst she trusted. 2 states over. Off-grid. Discreet. She typed, need help. Voice deepfake. Ongoing op urgent. Hit send. Waited. then walked out of her office. Every light in the hallway flickered, and just before she reached the door, her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. This time a video. She opened it, saw herself, in uniform, speaking at a podium. Only, the speech wasn't real. It was about dismantling protest groups, threats against civilians. It looked real. It sounded real. But she had never said those things. At the end of the clip, a line of text appeared. When truth sounds like fiction, fiction becomes truth. Then it cut to black. And underneath it all, one more message. Next time, we'll do it live. The video ended. The room went silent. Lila Monroe didn't blink. She stood there, phone still glowing in her hand, pulse steady but rising. The hallway lights had stopped flickering. But something in her gut hadn't. This wasn't just a threat anymore. It was a clock, and it had already started counting down. By morning, the city was louder. News outlets circling, online commentary boiling over. The video had leaked. Not the full version, just enough to poison the air. Clips of Lila's deepfake speech now played on the evening news, spliced with old footage, headlines, and reaction quotes from people she didn't even recognize. It didn't matter what was true. People had already decided. Mayor Conlon called her into City Hall. The meeting wasn't formal, but it felt like a goodbye. "You need to step back," she said. "I need to finish this. Your presence is making things worse." Because someone made it look that way. Mayor Conlon looked tired. Too tired. "There's an emergency session tomorrow. They're considering suspension." Lila said nothing. "There are elections coming," Conlon added. "And people are scared." Lila's voice dropped. "So they'll sacrifice the one person still willing to stand in the fire?" Conlon didn't answer. She didn't have to. That night, Lila drove to the edge of town. To the only place where no one would follow. The abandoned train yard. Old freight containers. Forgotten warehouses. Shadows stacked on shadows. She'd gotten a ping. A location drop. From Maya. Her digital contact. Off-grid. Paranoid. Brilliant. Lila stepped into the hollow of a storage unit marked 23A. Inside, lit only by a battery lantern, Maya sat in front of a battered laptop, wires everywhere. "I traced the voice," Maya said before Lila could speak. "Is it Creel?" "No, but it's someone he's working with." She turned the screen. A waveform danced across it. "It's your voice, stitched from press clips, interviews, even old voicemails. They've been building it for months." Lila watched in silence. "And they're planning a broadcast," Maya continued. "Live. Hijack the city's emergency alert system. All channels. Phones. Radios. Everything." "When?" Maya didn't blink. "Tonight." Lila didn't wait. She left the train yard with a burner phone, a flash drive, and a name. Elian Bracer. An ex-Fed. Now blacklisted. Known for digital warfare, synthetic media. Last seen in Ridgeport, 2 hours east. Too far to get there in time. But his signal? Already traced. Back to Brookhaven. She called Rami. Told him to meet her at the old signal tower near Orchard Hill. If they were going to hijack anything, that's where it would be. He didn't ask questions. He just said, "I'm on my way." The road up to Orchard Hill was steep. Dark. Lined with dry trees and cracked pavement. Fog was rolling in. Thick. Unnatural. By the time Lila reached the gate, she saw it. A black van. Parked. Engine off. No lights. And beside it, a figure. Not masked. Not hooded. Jonas Creel. Waiting for her. She got out slowly. No badge. No backup. Just her and her breath in the cold air. "You always had a thing for dramatic scenery," Lila said. Creel smiled. "The wrong kind. I told you I'd ruin your name. And here we are. You're not smart enough to do this alone." "No," he admitted. "But Elian is." He nodded toward the tower. "Signal goes live in 10 minutes. Your fake press conference will be glorious." Lila's voice turned to steel. "You won't make it out of this." Creel laughed. "Neither will your reputation." Then Rami arrived. Quietly. From behind. Gun drawn. "Hands up," he ordered. But Creel didn't flinch. "You think this ends with me?" he said. "The rot's deeper than that. I'm just the voice." "No," Lila said. "I'm the voice." And she hit play on the flash drive Maya gave her. The real footage. Her real speech. Unedited. Uncut. Broadcast straight to the tower. Maya had already breached their link. Creel's fake version started glitching, scrambling mid-upload. A counter signal flooded the system. Lila walked forward as Creel's face fell. You're not the only one who plans ahead. Inside the tower, Ellie and Bracer panicked. Maya had found him too. Remotely. Locked his rig. Scrubbed his servers. And by the time Lila and Rami reached the top floor, he was already gone. Just an empty chair. And a note. We'll try again. Back at City Hall, news broke fast. The fake video? Debunked. The voice? Disproven. Creere. In custody. But the damage? Still there. Lila stood in front of a full council the next morning. She didn't plead. Didn't posture. She just told the truth. What she faced. What she found. And what it meant. That the fight wasn't over. That someone somewhere would try again. Because lies don't need to be believed. They just need to be loud. And then, just as the mayor stepped up to speak, a phone buzzed. Lila's. Blocked number. One line. Redstone 7 was just the beginning. She looked up. Someone in the room was watching her. She could feel it. The inquiry was closed. Her name cleared. But her shadow war? Still very much alive.